News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Nathan Hager.
And I'm Karen Moskow.
Karen, we begin in Washington, where debate continues in the Senate on President Trump's massive tax and spending cut bill. This morning, senators are kicking off a marathon voting session on dozens of amendments to the legislation. The process is likely to take all day, but Senate Majority Leader John Thune is hopeful it will get done in the end.
Republicans are united in our commitment to what we're doing in this bill: securing our border, strengthening our national defense, growing our economy, unleashing American energy, cutting waste, fraud, and abuse, and preventing tax hikes on hardworking Americans.
Majority Leader Thune's going to be working behind the scenes to ease Republicans' competing concerns. North Carolina's Tom Tillis says the Medicaid cuts in the bill go too far.
What do I tell 663,000 people in 2 years or 3 years when President Trump breaks his promise by pushing them off of Medicaid because the funding's not there anymore?
Republican Tom Tillis announced he would not seek re-election next year after President Trump threatened to primary him for voting against the bill. Other Republicans are pushing for even faster Medicaid cuts to shrink the bill's price tag. Elon Musk is weighing in as well. The Tesla CEO and former Trump advisor says cuts to electric vehicle and clean energy tax credits would be incredibly destructive to the country. Republicans are racing to get the bill to President Trump's desk by the end of the week.
Nathan, we have several developments on the trade front this morning. The UK-US trade deal is officially in effect. It marks the only trade agreement the White House has implemented with 9 days to go on its self-imposed tariff pause. Let's go to London and get the very latest with Bloomberg's Ewan Potts. Ewan.
As global leaders scramble to agree tariff deals with the US, the UK's is now in place. British car manufacturers can now export to the US with a 10% tariff, down from the 25% rate imposed on other countries. And aerospace companies like Rolls-Royce now face zero tariffs on goods including engines and aircraft parts. However, there's no sign of progress toward reducing levies on the UK's beleaguered steel industry. Those remain at 25%. In London, I'm Ewan Potts, Bloomberg Radio.
Well, meanwhile, Karen, President Trump says he's identified a buyer for TikTok's U.S. operations, but he's not naming the winning bidder. That's after U.S. and Chinese officials confirmed they'd agreed to a trade framework last week. The president expanded on the TikTok terms in a pre-taped interview with Fox News.
We have a buyer for TikTok, by the way. I think I'll need probably China approval. I think President Xi will probably do it. Well, it's a group of very wealthy people.
That was the president speaking on Fox News. Now, a January deadline for TikTok's Chinese parent ByteDance to find a local buyer was pushed back twice by the president.
Well, Nathan, President Trump also weighed in on the Democratic nominee for New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani in that Fox News interview.
He's a communist, and he's a pure communist. I think he admits it.
The president raised the possibility of withholding federal funds for the city if Mamdani's election in November, or if he's elected in November. The 33-year-old has described himself as a democratic socialist, and in an interview with NBC's Meet the Press, he was asked if he thinks billionaires should exist.
I don't think that we should have billionaires because, frankly, it is so much money in a moment of such inequality.
And Zohran Mamdani says business leaders have told him the high cost of living in the city is keeping them from attracting and retaining talent. He also says there's no room for anti-Semitism in New York, but he declined to condemn the phrase globalize the intifada, which is offensive to many Jewish people. You can hear Meet the Press every Sunday on Bloomberg Radio.
Turning back to markets now, Karen, traders begin the week with stocks at all-time highs. On Friday, the S&P 500 joined the NASDAQ 100 in closing at records. Stocks have made a stunning recovery from April's tariff turmoil, adding almost $10 trillion in value after teetering on the cusp of a bear market just 2 months ago. U.S. equities took in $164 billion of inflow so far this year, and Bank of America says stocks are on course for their third largest annual allocation in history.
And that's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Karen Moskow.
I'm Nathan Hager, and this is Bloomberg.